Now, Ian Williams is an author and foreign policy analyst, and he joins us from New York. Thanks so much for speaking to us, Ian. Now, why are both men stepping down at the same time? Has this come as a surprise to you at all?
Well, both are claiming personal reasons, but this is a position without much in the way of tenure. We had Kofi Annan, we had Lakhdar Brahimi, who were both sort of super diplomats, and they essentially walked away and washed their hands of it. Now, it's in the nature of Staffan de Mistura. He never washes his hands. One could say that of a situation he keeps doggedly on, but people would say that the realistic thing to do, he should have left long ago, if only to call attention to the attention of the great powers to the fact that this wasn't going anywhere. I mean, he's got people there, they can talk to each other, but nothing's going to happen until the great power realignment and the situation on the ground changes. It's very, very reminiscent, as I was thinking about it, about the Balkan Wars, where we had the exactly sort of complex, multiple different interests involved on the ground and internationally. The US didn't have a dog in the fight. Russia does have a dog in the fight. Okay. And so you have a happy hunting ground. It's very dangerous, and I'm not surprised he stood down. I'm surprised he stuck it this far. Okay, so you're not surprised. And Ian, you've been covering the UN for a very long time. How would you assess de Mistura and also Jan Egeland's diplomatic achievements and legacy in Syria, if any at all? Well, Jan Egeland has been concentrating on the practicalities, which I knew him when he was at UNDP, and he's very good at that. He's very practical. He was arranging practical things. Now, Staffan de Mistura, he has a particular remit. He wants to keep people talking. And it harks back to the old days, pre-Balkans of the UN, where as long as people are talking, it looks as though we're doing something. And in effect, we're not. If you remember Kofi Annan, who resigned on this, he desperately tried to give Saddam Hussein a chance. He defied the Americans and went to Baghdad to talk to Saddam Hussein, and he got a sort of quasi-deal. But his comment that people forget afterwards is it shows the efficacy of diplomacy when backed by the credible threat of force. And that's the particular part here, is that nobody has got a credible threat of force except the Russians and the Syrian government. Everybody else is backing away.
And just to pick up on that, some argue that it's really left the UN sidelined and also exposed them as quite powerless. Would you agree?
In one way, yes, but on the other hand, it's one of the functions of the United Nations, is that when people climb up a gum tree, the UN is there to offer them a ladder to come down again. And that's where the particular sort of diplomacy of Staffan de Mistura, being nice to everybody and appeasing everybody, it offers a ladder for everyone to climb down when the time comes, when people get too weary for the war, or when people say we've had enough of this. I hope that point comes soon, because Syria it's a betrayal of the world and the United Nations and the Middle East. This has been a pure killing zone for all of these years, and the rest of the world has abdicated. Well, if they haven't abdicated, that's even worse, because the Americans have allowed the Saudis, Gulf states, and the Wahhabis to run rage there. The Syrians have got the Russians in. Okay. The Iranians are involved. I mean, everybody is in there, and nobody is giving a fig leaf for international support.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ian. We're going to have to leave the interview there. Thank you very much for speaking to us on TRT World. That was Ian Williams, author and foreign policy analyst.